Trying to pronounce names is a lot like taking an eye exam. Think about it. You sit down, look at the letters, squint, pause a second, and just guess! It's wild. When I went to the optometrist last week, it felt like I was running an awards ceremony. My eye doctor, by the way, called me Auryon. That is the last time I ever set foot in Dr. Hindenburg's office again. But Dr. Hindenburg's casual Nazism can't be the only reason he gets my name wrong, because people mess it up no matter where I go. When I meet new peers, university officials, at Starbucks, well, they can't even pronounce Starbucks. Siri even gets my name wrong. And when my parents try to type my name into their phone, it autocorrects to financial burden. That's not even close. But getting names wrong is a serious problem. A July 2021 study from NameCoach explains that nearly 3/4 of people face struggles with name pronunciation at work, and nearly half of people had their names mispronounced in a job interview. Granted, I mispronounce names too, like when I applied for a job at Boo Vivans and they rejected me. Bob Evans? Whatever. I'm taking my talents to e-hoop. Crucially, journalist and author Ruchika Tolshan informs us in April of 2021 that pronouncing names correctly is an incredibly important part of practicing allyship and anti-racism. We need to be sure the people we're standing alongside can recognize us by what we want to be called, not just a nickname other people give us. Unless you're Lil Nas X, don't call me by your name. Really, pronunciation is a prerequisite to humanization, which is why we need to pronounce names correctly. So, let's look at some causes, effects, and solutions. Because calling me Auryon is not what Hitler stood for. Don't worry about that Hitler joke, by the way. My 23andMe tells me I'm 0.3% Ashkenazi Jew. Ashkenazi? Ashkenazi. There are two reasons we don't pronounce names correctly: human psychology and ignorance. First, our ability to pronounce names, or lack thereof, goes all the way back to when we were babies. According to speech scientist Dr. Patricia Kuhl at the University of Washington, babies have the ability to detect slight phonetic differences in sounds and pronunciations, and can thus learn any sound in any language. Her research was later confirmed by the Boss Baby. However, as people grow older, their ability to discern between slight differences in sounds recedes. As Dr. Kuhl, who was recently married to Dr. Doing Drugs Is, explains, if we aren't exposed to a given language as an infant, we have a harder time replicating the sounds and speech patterns associated with that language. For example, both Persian and Arabic have a q sound, like Gaddafi or Al-Qaeda. So if you don't know how to pronounce that sound, rest easy. You've only been disrespecting a terrorist organization. You know, I almost got recruited to a terrorist organization. No, not Al-Qaeda. Racist. We just went over this. Al-Qaeda. No, but really, it was ISIS. I told them I don't live in Syria, though, and they backed off? But don't let yourself think that you're biologically restricted from pronouncing names correctly. I mean, Zach Galifianakis. How do people say Zach Galifianakis, but not Idris Elba? Maybe they're born with it, sure. Maybe it's Maybelline. Of course, by Maybelline, I mean second. We undervalue names as parts of our identity. Names carry deep personal, cultural, familial, and historical connections. The Washington Post of June 8, 2021 uses Chinese names as an example. Because Chinese culture is profoundly metaphorical, parents look at genealogy and historical texts to balance sound and meaning when naming children. Imagine putting that much work into something just to have someone give up and start calling you Greg. Simply put, we get names wrong because we don't recognize their strong relationship with identity. We make the same mistake with John Mulaney's relationship with alcohol, or my relationship with a Boopy Von's breakfast sandwich. You know, now that I think about it, I ignored a lot of warning signs from Dr. Hindenburg. For example, every time I mentioned our two main effects, disadvantaging people and pressuring them to assimilate, he would get really excited and yell, "White power!" which I didn't understand at the time. I just responded, "I prefer solar power. Protect our planet." First, mispronunciation puts people with unfamiliar names at a disadvantage. A 2021 study from the Journal of English Learner Education explains that in educational settings, young children with unfamiliar names lose confidence and self-worth leading to feelings of shame and self-rejection. Coincidentally, also the title of my memoirs. But not only this. When people have unfamiliar names, they're less likely to get called on in classrooms. And we all know that developing relationships with teachers is incredibly important to success. I would know. I've slept with several of my professors, and I've never gotten below an A. I also passed all my classes. These effects also extend into adult life. The same issues students face in classrooms are felt by aspiring business people in boardrooms. They get overlooked or denied promotions because they have fewer opportunities to connect with higher-ups who can't get their name right. Second, mispronouncing names pressures people to assimilate. Names are supposed to celebrate our individuality. Instead, they often leave us more stressed than blessed. Like Gordon Ramsay. And he needs a hug. When people constantly mispronounce someone's name, it becomes much easier to just accept unsolicited nicknames or mispronunciations just to fit in. I'm a great example, not about the dick pics. My name is Auryon, but at some point, people started calling me Jan, which is something you do when you're sluggish or tired or bored. And it hurt to have other people give me a nickname that was so accurate. In a 2021 interview, Simu Liu, who played the title character in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, revealed in an interview that he would have given anything as a child to change his name to Steve. You know how bad you have to make someone feel to make them go from Shang-Chi, a superhero, to fucking Steve? There's pretty much only one Steve, Steve Jobs, and he hated his name so much, he died. Sorry, Simu. It's a Kim convenient truth. Both of my parents moved to the United States from Iran in their early teens. And in their 20s, both of them decided to shorten their names to make them easier to pronounce. Now that I'm in my 20s and feel the same pressures they did, I understand exactly why. But people still get both of their names, and mine, wrong. So, let's find some solutions. Help from technology and a new social protocol. First, we need to integrate more speech pronunciation software into our lives. An excellent starting point is to use NameDraw, a startup that allows people to record pronunciations of their names and upload them to their social media bios, email signatures, and job applications. I asked my friend to set mine up for me, and I've received mixed results. For some reason, everyone keeps calling me, Auryon, we're not friends. How did you get into my kitchen? I've also reached out to Ben Stewart, the founder of SpeechWire, to integrate an audible pronunciation button next to competitors' names. Hopefully, if a competitor wants, they can record a pronunciation of their name, upload it to their SpeechWire, and it'll appear right next to their competitor code. It'll take some tech trial and error, but there's definitely more we can do to get it right. This way, when a judge pronounces my name, it'll hurt even more when they still get it wrong. Second, let's go over some ground rules to help you stop the escalation of your pronunciation situation. A January 2020 Harvard Business Review article identifies 3 guidelines to help. 1. Actively listen when someone says their name. Introductions are like Taco Bell. If you don't take the lactate up front, you're going to take a lot of crap on the back end. 2. Keep it simple. If you mispronounce someone's name, chances are it happens to them all the time. So don't turn it into a whole thing where we have to try and make you feel better. And finally, if you're still unconfident about someone's name, just clarify. Asking someone how to pronounce their name multiple times may seem like a bother, but what it really shows is that you're committed to treating someone with the respect they deserve. But really, after like the 7th or 8th time, just bail. Please bail. So today, we took a look at the causes, effects, and solutions of mispronouncing names. Dr. Hindenburg may never learn how to pronounce my name, or respect human rights. But I'm not worried. If he ever tries to give me a hard time again, well, he's got a stupid name anyway.